welcome to Wholesome Roots. Well, last night I heard our big dog Leela barking up a storm. And she sometimes barks at night just a tiny bit, but she wouldn't stop, and I knew something was up. So I jumped out of bed, grabbed my flashlight, and threw my boots on and ran outside, and I went straight to the ducks because I was thinking about those eggs that were stolen from a predator. Ryan found all the shells too. They were just a few feet away. I just didn't see them, and they all had small holes in them with the insides taken out. So that's weird because I think with possums and raccoons that they usually just rip the egg open and make a big mess, but this was like a little hole drilled into it, which sounds more like rats, but I doubt a rat would eat that many eggs. So if you guys have any clues as to which predator it could be, let us know. We are gonna have a heart trap because I went out and investigated with the flashlight and I saw nothing, but the ducks were all like freaking out, and I only saw 4 of the ducks, and they were just running in circles like they were scared. So I think something got in there. Now I'm trying to determine if any of our ducks were taken. I think they may have been. I've got 3 ducks back there. They're not in the pen. Those ones are always in the pen. And this morning they were not. So, yeah, we're gonna have to figure out what predators is the issue and take care of that. Neutralize the threat. So, I see 2 more ducks in front of me, the 2 Margos that are always out. So that brings us up to 6, so that means 2 are still missing. Usually there's a 3rd Margot with the Margos. Another Muscovy. Where's your friend? Where is she? Huh? They're not telling me. Oh, that stinks. I really like my ducks a lot. I really like the Muscovies. They're super cool. Great personalities, great parents, great dual purpose breed. But I'm not giving up hope yet. I'm hoping my little buff Muscovy is around here somewhere. That was a unique color and she was so sweet. She was the one who was sitting on a nest. Oh, there is another duck. I found one in the pen. There is one in the pen, so that's 7. So yeah, 8, 9. We're missing 2. The buff one and the other black Muscovy. I think that's who's missing. But hopefully they'll turn up and they're just scattered because they were scared of the predator. But there is another duck that's sitting on a nest. So I did find it. It was really deep in the weeds. So there is another nest with just a few eggs that one of our other ducks is sitting on. So there is still hope. We just gotta get rid of that predator. So with everything seeming okay with Chaos and Fancy, we let Luna come in with her mom because they were both pretty upset being separated. Fancy has been on antibiotics for 3 days. This will be the 4th day. So after the first 24 hours, usually that helps clear up anything that is infectious, and that's why we felt like it was okay to put her in here. Chaos may not even have diarrhea. I have not seen her poop, so I don't know. So I'm just being extra cautious here. We do have some good news to report on this front as far as the pooping goes. So if you're TMI, then look away from the camera for a minute. But right over there, the most beautiful sight in the world when your goats have had diarrhea is poop in the form of pellets. Now those pellets are still clumped together just a tiny bit, so that's not perfectly out of the water, but it is super, super huge improvement, and I'm so grateful to see that. Sorry for those that didn't want to see all that, but we managed to get 1 more bale of the good alfalfa from the farm before we were cut off from good alfalfa. So they let us have it for our sick goats, so they're enjoying that because they didn't really want the Bermuda. The other goats haven't really been touching the Bermuda either. But we're so happy to see them with an appetite. That's another thing, is Chaos has never acted sick, not once. Not 1 second of looking droopy, not 1 minute of not eating. So I think we probably were extra cautious with her, and I did see her have diarrhea, so it was a good thing to be extra cautious, because you never know what will happen with goats. You just have to be super careful with them and make sure that you act fast. It's just really important that they get lots of attention, and that is really important to me in my herd management, is to really be hands-on and really watch them and know each individual goat and their needs. It's a beautiful day. We've had some great weather here in Georgia. Sun is shining, but it is not humid and hot, but it's beautiful. Got one of my sunflowers blooming over here. I just threw out handfuls of sunflower seeds on the side here. Isn't that pretty? I love it. A nice breeze coming through. Well, I was really happy that the GI Soother and Slippery Elm that I ordered when Bo was sick finally came in yesterday. So I did give both of the girls a dose of that GI Soother. It has Slippery Elm in it, so I am using just this GI Soother at this point because they're seeming like they're getting better, so I don't want to overdo it with the Slippery Elm. And it has other ingredients in it too. It smells like cinnamon. It's got cinnamon and ginger and mullein and Slippery Elm and something else. I think it has maybe 2 other ingredients, some good stuff. So I got that from Fir Meadows. So Fir Meadows for the GI Soother and the Slippery Elm, and I also ordered a big bag of cayenne pepper. That's the good kind to use in any of these mixes. There's cayenne, that's another one of the ingredients in the GI Soother is cayenne. So cayenne has good attributes to it, so it's very good to have in your medicine kit. And then the Molly's Herbal formula that we use is from Fiasco Farms, Molly's Herbal. That's an immune booster and dewormer. We use Formula 2 every week, and then we use the Formula 1 when we have an issue, or every quarter or so, or even every month if we had to. I can't remember what schedule I'm on right now. Basically, I haven't had parasite issues, so it's working. And the garlic ginger paste, I have made a video for that, so I'm editing it now. That was from Happy Vagabond Farm, and all of these things are great for immune boosting, not just for diarrhea issues. So they are good things to either purchase and have on hand or to make yourself. And you definitely could make even the herbal formulas, you can make yourself if you bought the ingredients and everything, but I figure like these have been portioned out, like the volume of each ingredient has been specifically figured out for the 4 goats by an herbalist. Why would I bother trying to recreate the wheel? It's already been created and the price isn't bad. So I've been happy to purchase from small farmers and help support them, and they're helping my herd, and I think everything just kind of flows well that way. So for big medicine, we go with the vitamin B, the Banamine for pain or fever, antibiotic. I chose Duramycin this time because that was what was quickly available at Tractor Supply. And the vitamin B shots are really good. And then of course the probiotic paste and the electrolyte paste. I always get those at Tractor Supply too. Just because it's a whole lot easier just to do that. I have made my own electrolytes too, and of course I always offer probiotics in the form of kombucha vinegar or other apple cider vinegar or other things like that we make ourselves. Probably gonna make up a batch of sauerkraut to start fermenting, and I think I'm gonna see what the goats think of the brine that after it's fermented, the brine has lots of probiotics in it. So I think I'm gonna see if that's something that they will willingly eat. That's the only problem with any of these herbs, is some goats willingly gobble it up and some don't. So getting it in them is the hard part. For those of you wondering how I give them the Molly's Herbal dewormer once a week, it is usually sprinkled over the food like this. So as they eat, it falls down through the food. So I always give a heaping tablespoon instead of just a tablespoon, because they will lose some to the bottom of the dish. And everybody gets this, even if they're not on the milk stand. I give it in the stalls before I let them out. So some of you may have seen that I do have a tutorial video of immune boosting deworming treat balls. The problem with that I had was not all the goats would eat the treat balls, even with molasses added to it. I had several goats that turned their nose up at it. So, and the reason why I started doing the treat balls is because there was so much powder left in the bottom of the dish after they ate that I felt like I wasn't giving them enough. So that's why I went to giving a heaping tablespoon instead of just a tablespoon. That way whatever's left in the bottom of the dish, I can just pour over the top of the next dish, over the next goat that gets on the milk stand, or over the next food serving that they get. So that helps. And I feel like they're getting enough of it, for sure. It's obviously working because we've had clean parasites. And I am going to be checking the rest of the herd so that we can be sure that we have clean parasites with everyone. So that is a next step for us. This girl right here, I'm getting excited about. She's got such a nice, big, healthy looking belly. I wonder how many babies she's gonna have. She looks really good. She's in good condition. She's got some good meat on her. I keep checking those ligaments even though we're still 2 weeks out. And I'm checking the udder for filling up, seeing if she's starting to fill up. It does seem like it is a bit puffier. So she is due August 16th, and we are praying for does. This girl has a famous mom. So her mom is Tabitha the goat in The Walking Dead, and she's not only an actress, but she's also a super nice goat, great personality, and a great producer. So this is Fancy 2's second freshening, so we're gonna get a better idea of how well she produces, but she produced really well her first freshening, so we were happy already. So it's gonna be interesting to see what her supply does this time. Usually the second freshening is a big difference from the first. Anybody notice anything? Some of you experienced chicken farmers will notice something along the ground inside the coop. What is that I spy? Feathers everywhere. At first glance, to the untrained chicken keeper, that may appear like a predator attack. That is kind of what a predator attack looks like. But no, we have no missing birds. We have no injured birds. We have the molting season beginning. Boo. Whenever my girls molt, they stop laying eggs. They lose all their feathers and they grow new ones. So we're molting. And it's a necessary part of life, but darn it, I was just getting used to having too many eggs. So if anybody wants eggs that's local, you better come and get them now, because we're about to not have enough to sell. I told you goats dust bathe. You didn't believe me, did you? The cream was just rolling in that pile that they created. They made that dirt spot just for themselves to dust in. Everybody's looking good. Everybody's eating well. No poopy tails out here. I'm not seeing any poopy tails in the stall either. Even with my sick girls, they seem like they're better. I'm easing them into getting a little bit of grain to get their rumen adjusted to that today. And then if all goes well and they continue to show improvement, they may get to come outside to play tomorrow. I think they would like that. And I think now that this has been eaten down from most of the lush stuff, it'll be good because they won't be thrown into a new paddock area that they'll want to just devour. So we'll have to do it very carefully and slowly and a little bit at a time to start. Oh, fancy. Fancy too, you and your waddle. Oh, I see movement on the side. You see it? Do you see the babies moving? See, the babies are on her right side that's facing us, and the rumen is on the left side. So now that she's standing this way, you can't really see it. It was when it was in contrast. So cool. She is really kind of walking slower and everything. I'm wondering if she might go a little early. It's possible, but not likely. We've got 16 days to go. Now it's time for me to go over all of my heat cycles in my calendar and figure out a breeding plan. It's time to breed, and I'm not sure that Fluffernutter is going to be big enough to breed the older girls, so I might just hold off on breeding Fancy Girl this year anyway. With her just recovering from sickness, I'm not going to breed her for a while until she's got a lot of meat on her bones. She's not going to be bred. We've dried her off even. We're not going to milk her, we're not going to breed her, we're going to wait until she's fully healthy again before we make that kind of a decision. So Fluffernutter probably couldn't reach her anyway, but he will be able to reach Willow and Hearts, so that's good. And Shady Girl can be bred with Bo. Who else? So the Alpines are the one I'm questioning. I guess I need to ask around and see if I can find an Alpine buck. And if not, then we'll just make some Alpine Nubian crosses and see if Bo will breed with them. Alright, so now that my mind is a little bit more at ease with the animals, I can start thinking about the garden again. And what the next steps are for this garden is to remove these 2 beds, pull everything out and dispose of it, and start planting some fall plants. The cucumbers will be the next things we pull after we get the tomatoes out. We'll work on this bed, and then we can start working on this horrible mess over here that never became a garden. Still, once again, another year gone that we didn't get to plant on this side of the garden. Ran out of time and energy. That happens, especially with 2 little kids at home. But we've got plenty of mulch to still put out, and we are gonna pick whatever tomatoes we can. And then this whole section is perennial, so this will stay here. We'll never pull that out. It'll be a continued harvest for years to come. I'm really looking forward to the corn harvest most of all. We have never been successful growing corn, so this is a first for me. I've had little tiny ears on little tiny plants. I've never had them grow this big and this well, so I'm super excited about that. It's probably due to how rainy it was this year. So anyway, please like, share, comment down below if you have any questions, subscribe if you haven't already, and we'll see you next time on Wholesome Roots.